Okay guys, welcome back to part 2 of the AST Advantage machine. Now I've already gone ahead and cleaned some parts. I decided that because my last video, part 1, turned out extremely bad, at least I thought it was bad, I didn't do a very good job trimming it, or I trimmed it pretty good, but the video I recorded I was trying something new and it just did not turn out good for me. At least the way, my opinion, it didn't turn out very good. So part 2 is probably going to be the video you're going to want to watch. If you've already watched part 1, that's great. You got to see the disassembly. If you want to see the disassembly, watch part 1. But it's really not very good editing. I didn't edit very well. But I think part 2 is going to be better. Because what I'm going to try to do in this video is this is going to be assembly, by the way, as you noticed from the title, which I forgot to mention. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to try to go towards what I was doing when I was building the 386 and dismantling it. And I think I'm going to stick with that for all my videos I do with this until I can get some more room on my desk so I can set something up and make kind of a neat video that I've been wanting to do for a while. So hopefully you guys are ready for something like that. Can't tell you when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen soon, hopefully. Maybe I'll get this new thing set up. Not really anything new, but just try something new. But I think for this video, I want to stick to what I did for the 386, like I said. And if you haven't watched that video, you don't have to. Basically, what I'm going to do is show you guys the parts, clean them, show them to you again when they're in the system. That's kind of works really good when I do it that way, at least for me. And I know it's probably not as cool for you guys, because I'd really like to do something with speed, like really quick speed build. Just take apart, dismantle, talk about the parts, put it back together, really quick, clean it. I'd like to do something like that. But right now, I can't figure out how I would set it up. I suppose I should probably just put it right where my compact is right now, because it'll fit right on that, and then face down on the desk so I can do a really quick build. The only problem is my lighting down here really is not that good. I've got one light and it's right above me, and then the rest of it is just lit by that one light. So I don't know. But enough rambling on. Let's talk about the parts that I have already cleaned. Yes, I already cleaned some parts. Wasn't expecting to do this video. I mentioned in part 1, I think, I haven't really watched it because it sucked so much when I was editing and I watched the whole thing and it was just horrible. At least from what I gathered. I think I mentioned in there that I was just going to see you guys in part 2 when I had the whole thing put together, all the parts cleaned. Well, I decided against that. And like I said, I decided I was going to go towards what I did with the 386 build. So I think in this video, I'm going to do the same thing, like I said. But I did clean a couple parts because I did not realize that I was going to do it that way at first until I thought about it. So I'll show you guys the parts that I've cleaned, and it'll only take a couple seconds, more like a couple minutes. I don't want to waste too much time doing this, but quickly I'll just go through them, and then hopefully we can get on to cleaning some stuff. This is the AST modem. The original modem that came in the machine. It's actually a modem and partially a sound card. As you can see, it says AST Research right there on the top. And, well, the only reason I say partially sound card is because it has a built-in microphone. And somebody had originally written on pencil, or with a pencil on here. And surprisingly, 91% alcohol wouldn't take it off. I figured it would. I suppose an eraser might work, but then I'm afraid about leaving eraser marks all over it. It doesn't matter. It got rid of pretty much most of it. It said Mike down here. Somebody, I don't know, somebody had it written. And you might be able to tell there's a little bit left right there. It's a little gray right where it says line in. And I've also cleaned the motherboard and the I/O shield. The I/O shield was just kind of polished. It was kind of a little oxidized, so I polished it and it turned out pretty good. Nice and smooth now. And I've got the nuts back on for the serial ports and parallel and VGA ports. I don't have the processor installed. I've got it right next to me though. Here it is right here. That is a Pentium 100. Whoa, almost dropped it on the floor. And here's the heatsink for that. And those are not really fully clean. I gotta clean the heatsink a little bit later. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh, I did also clean the original 4-speed CD-ROM drive. As you can see, I don't know how to pronounce that company name. Torisan, whatever. But I cleaned off the drive rails. And its date code is March 1995, so I think this will be a good Windows 95 candidate. The CD-ROM drive should still work. I have never actually tested it, so I don't know if it will work. but it's extremely hard to take apart, so I didn't take it apart fully, not like I like to do. I couldn't take the tray out. The tray doesn't come out for the CD. The faceplate was really hard to get out without breaking it, and luckily I did that perfectly without breaking it. It's not too hard, but you just have to pull it over the tray, which is why I like to take out the tray first. And not only that, but the two sides that cover the CD-ROM drive itself, one on the main board for like the IDE, the controller I guess you could call it, and the other half for the headphone jack, were both grounded using the bottom case and the top, so you couldn't take it apart. There was wires connecting it. So without ripping those wires off or unsoldering them, I couldn't get access to take a full cover off. But I did bend it over, and it looked like, well, that doesn't sound very good. I lifted it up a little bit as far as I could without breaking anything. And it looked very clean inside, so I didn't get to oil anything or clean anything up, but I left it the way it is. It didn't look like any bands were broken. The tray still comes out, so I think it'll be okay. But I did clean that. And I think next up, like I don't know if I mentioned, I make so many videos sometimes, so many same videos recorded over and over again, that I forget what I said. I probably mentioned that before. So I think next up, we're going to clean the chassis, and I'll get right back to you guys. I'll get the motherboard installed, and the little brackets for the empty slots, expansion slots installed. I won't get the riser card in though, not at this point, and I won't get the floppy drives in, or the hard drive or the sound card in quite yet. That'll be for a little bit farther in the video. So if you want to watch that, skip ahead a little bit. I'm not going to probably post any times in the description or anything. You'll just have to find it yourself. Sorry guys. But I'll see you in a second once I get everything inside the case and the chassis all cleaned. Alright, so I went ahead and did exactly what I promised. I've got the motherboard in there along with the RAM, and I put the expansion slot covers in there also. I also polished up the back. I think that was already done though. I did put the cables in, I did put the CD-ROM drive in, just because I had those cleaned, and I figured might as well put them in, just because they're just sitting out here and kind of taking up space. So I got a little bit more space to work now. But I'll just go over quickly what I did. I put the new Pentium, or I put the original Pentium back in there, put the heatsink back over it. I went ahead and plugged the LEDs for the front in for power and hard drive. I also kind of just did a little zip tie magic, not really, that's a better term for that, and just kind of tied them down to the motherboard standoff, or a motherboard standoff for a different motherboard, of course. Just so it looks looks much better. It kind of wraps right around the CPU, which is I think how it was originally in there, but it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to get that out of the way, so it wasn't hanging out all over the place. I did take off the CMOS battery. That was quite a while back though. I'll put a new one in there after I test and make sure it still works. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at the back. Not a whole lot changed back here. I forget. I don't know if I had this thing polished when I originally did the video. I think I did. Maybe not though. But I ended up polishing off polishing that entire I/O shield right there. I didn't do the inside because nobody's going to see that. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Really doesn't make a whole lot of difference to do it on the back either, but I figured, what the heck, it might look good. So I did it, and it worked. I think I got that on right. I don't know if I do or not, but I think I got it on right. I also went ahead and added a new expansion panel, or expansion cover. You might notice one looks kind of odd, and that would be this one right here. It's really reflective. That's actually a different type of bracket. This one that I found in my collection of them. I didn't want to use that one. I had one that actually matched, but it didn't fit. It was too big, so it didn't work. This one doesn't really fit either. I hope that doesn't cause any problems. I didn't think about that. If you look right there at the top, you might be able to kind of see this one just a little bit bigger than all the other ones. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to find something else for that. But it works for now, so hopefully it'll work for the rest of the time I'm working on this machine. And I think next, I don't have the CLC. I think next I'm probably going to put the riser card in the bracket that goes with it. So I'll get that for you guys really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So basically what I'm talking about is this big thing right here, and this has a fan on it I'll take that fan apart there and I'll clean that so it's a little nicer looking, especially on that side right there. And then we can put the riser card in, and then I think we can put the cards in. And last but not least, we'll put the floppy drive, and both floppy drives in and the hard drive. So let me clean this up, and I'll get right back to you guys when I get it in the machine. Alright, so I went ahead and got the riser card installed along with the bracket and the fan too. And I realized for some reason I didn't notice this before, and I'm sure all you guys noticed it, or everybody watching the video noticed it. The fan, the reason it has 2 screws on it is because it's got a little dust collector over the top of it. For some reason I didn't pick that up when I was looking at the machine before, but I just did when I was cleaning it. I don't know why I didn't notice that. It's pretty obvious. You can kind of see a little crease maybe in between the fan and another thing, which is like a little filter dust. I assume that's what it's for. But anyway, that's all plugged in. Like I said, the riser card is in, and the bracket for that is in. It's really not too hard to do. Just one screw and it pulls right out. So, not too hard. Not too hard to put back in there. But I think I'll get back to you guys once I get the modem in, and I might film. I think I will. I think I'll turn on the camera and show you guys what the sound card looks like a little closer up, because I know you guys didn't get to see it very well out of the case. So I'll go ahead and put the modem in there, and then we'll work on the sound blaster. Alright, so I went ahead and got the modem installed, as you can see, and I also got the sound blaster, took it apart a little bit just so you guys can see a better close-up picture of it. If you guys want pictures of it, you want pictures of the chips and whatnot, I can probably get a good quality picture of it and post a link in the description. But I'm not going to do that unless somebody asks me to. So, just because I don't really have a camera I can take a picture with right now. My good camera's actually upstairs. My good picture-taking camera. It's not very good at recording video at all. But I will zoom in. Whoops! I will zoom in onto the card so you guys can see it a little bit better. There it is, in all of its green colors. From what I researched, it's a decent card. It's a CT 2800. It's got a Vibra 16S chip in it, and it also has a Yamaha OPL chip. Now, I don't know exactly a whole lot about OPL and Vibra. From what I think that's how you say it. From what I've researched, the Vibra chips are actually they're supposed to have less noise on the sound output. That's from a couple places I've heard. I don't know if anybody knows about this card at all. In fact, I looked on a couple forums and I could barely find any information on it. But if anybody knows anything about the CT 2800, that'd be really great. From what I know, it seems to be a good card, or I don't know if it's a great card, but it seems to be a good card, and I think it'll fit really nice in this system, at least for what I want to do with it, which would just be some light games, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to do anything like Doom on this. It'd be kind of cool to try it out, see if it works, but I don't know. So, there's a little close-up shot, I guess, if anybody wants to see it. And, yeah, let me get that in there. Alright, guys, so I went ahead and added a couple parts to this machine, like I had said. I went ahead and added the sound card, the hard drive cage, along with the hard drive and the little bracket that covers the back of it. And I also added new pads to the bottom of the system. New little rubber pads, just like these. These are what I use for pretty much all of that stuff. Just these little things right here, and they seem to work pretty good. It doesn't wobble around. When I originally got this machine, it only had 3 on there, so that's why I ended up changing them. They were the original ones, though, I think. So I would have left them if there would have been 4 of them, but there was only 3, and they were all beat up and yucky, so I just replaced them. But other than that, not a whole lot changed, and I think next time you guys see this machine, hopefully I'll have the floppy drive in there, at least one of them, and the full-length card holder at some point, or whatever you call that. This little, I think it's like a full-length card holder slot thing, whatever. Anyway, like I said, next time you see it, it'll have that in there, so I'll go ahead and do that, and get right back to you guys. So there we go. I got the 3.5-inch drive in there. I decided not to do the 5.25-inch drive just yet. That I'm going to clean up next, and then we'll move on to the power supply. And I also got the full-length card holder in there, as you can see in the bottom. When I put the camera down there, there it is. Can't really see it, you can just see the black tabs that fit into the case. But it does look good, it cleaned up pretty easily. Once again, just a piece of plastic, so it didn't take a whole lot of work to clean. In fact, here's a little better picture of it. Let's try to zoom in the best I can. Well, I don't know how well you guys can see that. Maybe zooming out works a little better. But it fits and it works, so I think it looks pretty good. Something I did not show you guys that I did in the last part, that is the little panel that goes over the hard drive. And one thing I was worried about was these little stickers on the back, and you can see this one's got the serial number and the stickers and whatnot on there. I was a little worried that that was going to peel off, but thankfully it seems to have dried great, and it doesn't look like it's going to come off at all, so I think we're going to be pretty good there. Other than that, everything else seems to be turning out pretty good. Like I said, just got to clean the floppy drive yet, and then we'll move on to the, I almost said CD-ROM drive, then we'll move on to the power supply, and then hopefully we'll be pretty much finished. And in part 3, we'll turn the machine on and see if it actually works. I don't know if it will. I have absolutely no clue if it will, actually. You guys saw in the testing video that it did boot up, but it did have a couple problems. So hopefully I'll be able to fix the floppy drive, because that was the noise that it made. It made a weird noise. And it was a floppy drive, 5 1/4 inch drive. So I'll take a look at that. But anyway, like I said, look for part 3. But the video is not done yet. We still got to do the power supply and the floppy drive. So I'll get you guys back when I get the floppy drive in there. And I don't know if I'll finish the power supply. I might have the power supply in there as well, too. So look forward to that. And see you guys in a second. So before I actually turn the machine on, I just want to make sure that the computer actually turns on, so I'm not just doing this all for nothing. I've got the 5 1/4 inch drive installed. I'm not going to test that at all. I'm just going to test the motherboard and that the machine boots up. At least boots up to the BIOS. So I'll go ahead and plug the power supply in. I've just got it sitting on top there. Hasn't been cleaned yet. I just wanted to check it. And I'll put the camera right there. Alright, so I adjusted the monitor so you guys are looking at it. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it in right now. Nothing seemed to happen. Here it goes. Alright, looks like it still works. It takes a full 16 megs of RAM, which is good. And the fan actually seems to be much quieter than it was before. The fan that cools... Oh, there I am, partially in the screen there. The fan that cools down the CPU actually seems to be running fairly quiet now. The only fan I can really hear is the power supply fan, and that'll be oiled again as well. So, but yeah, it looks to be working completely fine right now. So I don't think we'll have any problems. So let's just go clean up the power supply, and then we'll see if we can get it to boot with a keyboard. So the system is finally finished. I got everything plugged in, everything's ready to go, and I think it's ready to turn on. I did finish up the power supply. I re-oiled all the fans, and I think it's ready, like I said. So let me just go ahead and get the camera readjusted, and we'll see if it boots up. Even though I already know it does boot up, we'll see if it boots into anything, because now I've got all the drives plugged in, and I have not tested that. I've only tested to make sure it turned on. So, like I said, let me get the camera readjusted, and we'll check it out. Alright, here it goes. Let's test it out. Whoops. I've got an AT keyboard hooked up to it, and it's actually using a PS2 adapter. So let's see if it does anything. Usually takes forever to boot up from here, but hopefully it'll boot. Looks like I plugged in all the floppy drives correct. If you take a look over there, you might be able to see no lights, which is a good sign. And this stupid monitor makes me do that all the time. Wish I could turn that off, but I don't think I can. It seems to freeze right here. I don't know if it's because I don't have a battery in the system or what the problem is. But it responds to keyboard presses. I just entered this setup if you haven't noticed, so I don't know. CD-ROM drive seems to work. Sorry if it bugs anybody. My head's kind of in the monitor. That was a weird noise. Oh, that was the CD-ROM drive. Kind of just frozen, I think. Maybe it's the battery. I don't know. But this is where I usually get stuck. It doesn't like to go any farther than this, unfortunately. So I think maybe it's the battery. I'm gonna go grab a battery really quick, and we'll see if that works.